Okay, so in the previous my video, I told you that in my next video we will be discussing about determinants of demand. Now, what is determinant of demand? We have already studied in my previous video the law of demand. I'll just revise it. Law of demand means other things remaining constant. Other things remaining constant when the price of a commodity increases, the demand for the commodity decreases. There is an inverse relationship between price and quantity demanded. Okay, so as per the law of demand, it says that other things remaining constant. What are those other things? I told you in my previous video, we will be discussing when I will be explaining you determinants of demand. I will cover this point again. Okay, so let us start. So here you can see the demand. The demand for a product depends upon a number of factors. Determinants of demand is nothing but the demand depends on different factors. It depends on different factors. There are four most important factors that we are going to cover, and these four important factors, the first one is price, and the remaining three that we are going to cover are what we have already covered in assumptions of law of demand. So let's start with determinants of demand. So demand determinants is nothing but it is the demand for a product depends upon a number of factors. If this thing change, the demand will change. If there is a change in any of these four factors, there will be a change in the demand for a product or a commodity. So the four most important determinants of demand is number one, the price of the product. Number two, income of the consumer. Number three, taste and preferences or taste and fashions. And the first one is the price of related goods. So we will take one by one all of these factors. So the first factors or the first determinant of demand, the demand is dependent on is the price of a commodity. The price of a commodity is an important factor that determines the demand for a commodity. This is what we have studied in law of demand, which means that price of a commodity, when the price of a commodity rises, consumers buy less. So when price of a commodity rises, the demand falls. And when the price falls, consumer buy more of the product. So there is an inverse relationship, opposite relationship between price and quantity demanded. So the first thing on which the demand is dependent is price. If price change, demand will change. How it will change? If price increase, the demand decrease. If price decrease, the demand will increase. Because when the price increase, the product or the commodity becomes costly or expensive. So customers will buy less. And when the price of a product or a commodity comes down, when the price decreases, which means the price is less, the cost is less, the customers are getting the product in less price, so they will buy more, they will purchase more. That is why the demand is increasing. That is the first thing. The second important determinant, so here we can see there is an inverse relationship in price and quantity demanded. The second thing on which the demand is dependent or the second determinants of demand is income of the consumer. Consumer means customers. So here we can see in case of normal goods, what does it says? The goods for which demand increases when consumer income increases and the demand decreases when income falls. Very simple example. What we are going to cover is particularly we will be studying normal goods here. Inferior goods we will cover it in the later part of this chapter. So what does it? Very simple. If income increases means if a person is having more money, when income will increase, a person will become rich, he will have more money. So when customers have more money, When the income increase, what will happen? The demand will also increase. So when the income increase, the demand also increase. It is having a positive relationship. It is moving in the same direction. When income decrease means a customers will have less money in his or her pocket, so he or she will buy less. So the second thing on which the demand depend is income of the consumers. If income increase, the demand will increase. If income decrease, the demand will decrease. The third determinant of demand is the price of related goods. Now just pay attention, there are two types of related goods. Related goods are of two types. The first one is what we call substitute goods, and the second goods are complementary goods or complement goods. I will explain you with a very simple example, don't worry. So first one is, the first type of related goods is substitute goods. Now what is substitute goods? Substitute goods are those goods which can be interchangeably used, which can be used in place of one, we can use it another. Here it is given a very simple example, like tea and coffee are substitute goods. Tea and coffee are substitute goods, which means if you go to a restaurant, you go to a hotel, you go to a cafeteria, you tell them, give me a tea. He will say, sir, tea is finished. Now we have a coffee. So a customers will say, no problem, give me a coffee. So tea and coffee are example of a substitute goods. So tea and coffee are the examples of a substitute goods. Another example of a substitute goods I can give you, like what we have is the soft drinks, Pepsi and Coca-Cola. These are substitute goods. So in place of one, you can use another. You go to a restaurant, you tell them, give me a Pepsi. He will say, sir, Pepsi is finished. We have Coca-Cola, Coke. You will say, no problem, give me. Both is satisfying similar needs. So if tea is dearer means tea is costly, expensive, one can use coffee and vice versa. I will give you example on the top here. If the tea, we have two things, tea and coffee. So if the price of tea is 1, the demand for tea is how much? 50 people drink the tea. Again, the price of tea is 1 and price of coffee is also 1. So what is the demand of coffee? The demand of coffee is also 50. And tea and coffee is substitute goods. You can see 1 and 1. $1, $1. If the price of tea increases to $2, I will write it down for your understanding, dollar. So if the price of tea increases from $1 to $2, but the price of coffee remains the same, $1. So what will happen? See, before tea and coffee price was same, $1, $1, demand was also same. The demand for tea was 50, the demand for coffee was 50. Now what happened? The price of tea increased from $1 to $2. And the price of coffee is same, $1 and now again $1. So what will happen? Now tea is costly, it is dearer. Dearer means when it becomes costly, what will happen? Customers will drink less tea. So now the demand is only 20 and the price of coffee is less as compared to tea. So coffee is for $1, tea is for $2. So what will happen? More people will switch and they will start drinking coffee. So here you can see the demand for coffee increases. Price is same but the demand increase. Why the demand for coffee increase? because of the increase in the price of substitute goods. Substitute goods means increase in the price of tea. So here you can see the explanation. When the price of a substitute for a good falls, the demand for other goods declines and rises. The demand for other goods increases. So you can see the price of tea increases from $1 to $2. So the demand for coffee increases from 50 to 80. So if the two goods are substitute goods, if the price of one goods will increase, the demand for other substitute goods will increase. So the demand is dependent on the price of related goods. So here you can see the example. In our example, the demand for coffee is increasing. Why? Because of the change in price of tea, which is a substitute goods or a related goods. I hope this point is clear to everyone. Now the second type of related goods is complementary goods. Now what are complementary goods? Just pay attention here. These complementary goods are demanded together. We use it together. We don't use it separately. Example here is bread and butter or car and petrol. So if I have a car, I need petrol. And why I will buy petrol? Because I have a car. If a person is not having car, will he buy petrol? No. So the demand for petrol is dependent on car. So the demand for car and petrol is together. Okay. Similarly, bread and butter. I am buying butter. Why do I need butter? Because I want to put it on the bread. If no butter, no bread, I will not buy butter. Another example I can give you complementary goods is mobile phone and charger. If I have a mobile phone, if there is a demand for mobile phone, there will be a demand for a charger. If no demand for mobile phone, there will be no demand for charger, because charger and mobile is used together. So mobile and chargers are complementary goods. Is that clear? So in case of complementary goods, the change in the price of any of the two goods also affect the demand for the others. So here you can see, for example, if the price for the petrol falls, the demand for the two-wheelers will go up. So when the price of the petrol is coming down, means petrol is less price now, what will happen? More people will buy the motorcycle. They will buy car more. Why? The demand of car is increasing because the price of petrol has gone down. When the price of petrol falls, the demand for petrol increases. Why the demand for petrol is increasing? Because the demand for car and motorcycle has increased. So more people are buying car. So when they buying more car, they need more petrol. Why there is a more demand for petrol? Because there is a fall in the price of petrol. So this is the third determinant of demand. Price of related goods. I repeat, there are two types of related goods: substitute goods, which are used interchangeably, like tea and coffee, Pepsi and Coca-Cola. And the second is complementary goods, which are demanded together, like car and petrol, bread and butter, mobile and charger. Okay, is that clear? The fourth determinant of demand is taste and preferences of the consumers. So if the taste and preferences are favorable, the demand for the goods will increase. I'll give you example. You go to a fast food restaurant, you go to Pizza Hut, you buy a pizza. What happened? You like the taste. Oh, really, the taste is very good. What will happen? You will buy more pizza. So if the taste is favorable, If the taste is good, the demand will increase, means customers will buy more. But if the taste is unfavorable, if the taste is not favorable, customers don't like the taste or the fashion, if it goes out of fashion, people taste and preferences no longer remain favorable. So what will happen? The demand will decrease. You go and buy and eat a pizza. You don't like the taste. No, it is not good. What you will do? You will not buy again. The demand will decrease. Another example I'll give you, taste and preferences. What do we prefer? If it is in fashion, customers will buy. Now what is going on? iPhone 17 is in fashion. It is having AI, more applications. You can use it for your social media. It is in fashion. You'll buy more. The mobile with only keypad, only the button, where you can do only calling. You cannot use internet. You cannot use social media. Still some people, very few people are using those type of mobile. But what happened? It is out of fashion. The demand has gone down. So if customers like the test, the demand will increase. If the taste is not favorable, the demand will decrease. So these are the four determinants of demand: price of a commodity, income of the customers, prices of related goods, and taste and preferences of the consumers. So remember, I told you in the previous video when I was explaining law of demand, if the price of a commodity increases, the demand decreases, other thing remaining constant. So what are these other things which should not change? These are the remaining three things which should not change. Income of the consumers should not change. Price of related goods should not change. Taste and preferences of the consumer should not change. So these are the important points related to determinants of demand. I again repeat, if you like this video, I will be making different videos on different topics related to economics and other courses also. So just subscribe to this so that you will be receiving the videos as and when I upload it on the YouTube, and just share it with your friends so that they can also get the benefits. They can also learn. Okay, and like it. So we'll meet again in the next video.